What's up, boxing fans? This is TBE Boxing back at you again. Today's topic, shocker, the LDBC, the Pactards, the boxing industry, and Errol Spence fans were all backing Pacquiao to beat Ugas. Let's chop it up and see what it's all about.
Got the money for minutes, pretty bitch, gotta show me titties. This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? This is the life that I chose, huh? On the block with the pole, huh? That life for riches, huh? That life for riches, huh? Pretty bitch, show me titties, huh? And I got the glizzy, run up on me, I'ma make you get it. I'ma make you get it.
Okay, boxing fans, let's talk some boxing. So as we all know, in a spectacular performance and showcase of his boxing skills, Yordenis Ugas defeated legendary Manny Pacquiao to become the WBA super champion and current kingpin in the welterweight division. Now, Ugas had gotten, had the belt. He didn't win the belt against Manny Pacquiao in this fight. He defended it against Manny Pacquiao. Now, as you well know, Pacquiao was the previous super champion prior to Ugas. He had the belt, but he was stripped due to inactivity, and Ugas, who was the interim champion, was elevated to super champion, and then he ended up defending against Manny Pacquiao because there was supposed to be a fight between Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence. Errol Spence is the United welterweight champion. He had the WBC and the IBF belt. Okay, Ugas now has the WBA super belt and the interim belt, as well as Terence Crawford has the WBO belt, and there's the IBO belt, but I'm not sure who the champion there right now. So anyway, Spence was the one that was supposed to fight Pacquiao, and a lot of Spence fans were obviously looking forward to this because, as we all know, there's been a lot of drama going on in the welterweight division because originally Pacquiao was supposed to be fighting Crawford, but that fight didn't work out, and then, out of the blue, Spence got the fight with Pacquiao, which is a fight that Spence has been looking forward to now for several years, just like Crawford was looking forward to this fight for several years. All of these guys wanted to fight Pacquiao because, he's the legendary Pacquiao, and a win over Pacquiao would look good on anybody's resume, and, basically, buff up their legacy. So everybody wanted the Manny Pacquiao fight. Well, Spence got the fight. However, due to some injury to his eye, Spence was unable to make the call. He was able to appear in the ring with Pacquiao, and so the fight went to Ugas. Now, the weird thing about this whole situation, okay, is that, like I said in my introduction, the boxing community at large, that is the boxing industry, the Pactards, that is the Manny Pacquiao fans, the LDBC, we all know who they are. They were all in an unholy alliance in backing Pacquiao to beat Ugas. I mean, I didn't realize how bad it was. After, about yesterday, I went over, I went on YouTube and I started looking around and seeing, what was happening, prior to the Ugas Pacquiao fight. And when I'm looking around at these different channels, I realized that nobody was backing Ugas. I mean, it was incredible. All these LDBC pro-black so-called commentators, they were all backing our Pacquiao. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa. So I kept looking. I had one of them, one of the more known LDBC fanboys out there. It was he said, well, after he did his whole show and cried for like a half an hour about how almost an hour. I didn't listen to it for an hour, but I heard him cry for at least 30 minutes about how they weren't getting the fights that they wanted, and that, you know, this fight, they should have got this fight and that fight, and they're not, you know, the people not fighting each other. After all of that, at the end of, almost at the end of his live, he said, well, I'm not backing, you know, I would like Ugas to win, but I ain't betting again. I'm not backing that, you know, because I don't think he's gonna win. I was like, whoa, where's that coming from? I mean, you know, this is now. Let's get this thing straight. This guy is on his channel talking about pro-black from the first minute to the last minute, okay? But yet still, he refused to support Ugas against Manny Pacquiao, okay? And why do you think that is? Right? I mean, he claiming to be pro-black. I'm not, you know, I'm not supporting Ugas. You know, no, and then all these people in his chat was saying Ugas was gonna lose. But basically what it came down to was this. They were all hoping that Ugas would lose against Pacquiao so that could set up a fight between Pacquiao and Errol Spence. This is what it came down to. You know, so these guys, they're not really fans of boxing, they're just man fans. They're fans of one particular guy. Okay. I mean, now, you know, you would think that, you know, Ugas, you know, who, you know, the stand-up guy who's been, you know, he's out there. As a matter of fact, he's coming off some pretty good wins. You know, he beat Sean Porter even though they robbed him of that fight. Okay. And so he's coming off a, you know, a good run. And you would think that they would, you know, try to back Ugas in this fight. No, I can understand, right? I understand if Ugas was fighting Errol Spence and they were backing Errol Spence. That I can understand. Okay, I understand that. You know, based on their rhetoric. Okay, based on their rhetoric, I don't understand them backing Pacquiao against Ugas. Okay, I mean, I just don't see it. I mean, when you look at the skills that Ugas is displaying in the ring, especially in his fight against Crawford, which he fought Crawford much better than Sean Porter did. Oh, excuse me. I mean, Ugas fought a better fight against Sean Porter than Errol Spence did. Much more technical, superior in every way to the way Errol Spence fought Sean Porter. Even though they robbed Ugas of that fight. He should have won that fight. They robbed him. But I can understand if these guys were backing Errol Spence over Ugas if they were fighting, you know, they were both fighting instead of, you know, Manny Pacquiao. But these guys were backing Ugas to lose simply to set up a fight with, you know, Errol Spence, because they just wanted so bad for Errol Spence to get that Pacquiao fight and get the accolades, okay, that they refused to support Ugas. Okay? This is what it came down to. They refused to support Ugas. Not only did they refuse to support him, they were cheering for him to lose. Okay? They were hoping that he would lose against Pacquiao. Just so he could, you know, just so Pacquiao could fight Errol Spence. And this is, you know, this is what this is what I call, you know, this is the epitome of hypocrisy. You know what I mean? So, you know, but it is what it is. What do you expect from these guys? I mean, you know, now, you know, now that now that Ugas won the fight, he won the fight despite all their, their lack of support and their prediction that Manny Pacquiao was going to win. We might one of them guys, you know, what is Blue Blood? He predicted that Pacquiao was going to stop Ugas in the 9th round. I mean, it's not the first time he's been wrong with his prediction, and nobody gets prediction, you know, right every time. But this guy is consistently wrong with his prediction. He's always wrong, okay? And he was wrong this time, okay? Now, you would think that after Ugas went in there and, you know, did a spectacular job, that they would now support Ugas. No, they're not even giving Ugas any props whatsoever, okay? None of these, they're not giving Ugas no props, even though he won the fight. Now they're talking about, Errol Spence would have knocked out. You know, they want to detract from Ugas's accomplishment by saying that Errol Spence would have knocked out Manny Pacquiao. Now let's look at this, right? First, they refused to support Ugas. They say he was going to lose against Pacquiao. Then he goes in there, Ugas goes in there and, dismantle Pacquiao, okay? And instead of saying, oh yeah, man, great job, Ugas did a terrific job last night with a spectacular performance, blah, blah, this, blah, blah. No, now they're saying, Errol Spence would have knocked out Pacquiao. You see how you see how confused these people are? So this is what's going on in boxing. And they wonder why they're not getting the fights they want. Because they condone ducking, okay? And then they get upset when our people condone ducking for their fighters, okay? They can't see that they're condoning ducking, but that's what's going on. So when other people, start saying, okay, well, I don't mind my fighters ducking either, they get upset about that, okay? So this is where boxing is, and it's because of these fans, basically, But again, congratulations to Ugas. He put on a spectacular performance against Manny Pacquiao, okay? I, for one, don't believe that Spence would have done any better. We don't know if that's the case or not, so we can't go ahead and say that. That's just Monday morning quarterbacking by saying Spence would have knocked out Manny Pacquiao. For all we know, Manny Pacquiao probably would have knocked out Spence. We don't know. So, but again, these guys, don't have a problem with detracting from Ugas's, spectacular performance. It was a spectacular performance. It was, a masterclass of boxing, okay, that Ugas put on in that ring. If Errol Spence would have done what Ugas done a couple nights back, if Errol Spence was the one that had won that fight in the fashion that Ugas won the fight, everybody today would have been saying that Errol Spence is the #1 fighter pound for pound. Okay, that's what they would have been saying. But since Ugas is the one that did the job, nobody's saying that. They're just saying that Errol Spence would have knocked him out instead. Okay, so these guys are jokers, man. Okay, clowns. Okay, that's all they are basically. So I don't know. Ugas, I don't know what's going to happen with Ugas, what his next move is going to be, but, hopefully he gets the fight that he wants. He said he wants to unify, so that would mean that you have to fight either Errol Spence or Terence Crawford. As for Errol Spence, he's on the sidelines now, basically, watching the action. No one knows, if he's coming back. He said he's coming back, and hopefully he does come back. Okay, let's hope that, it's a minor thing and he comes back. But from what we're hearing, that's not the case. It's not that, it's not really a minor situation. But hopefully, with medicine, technology being the way it is today, maybe he can, they can do something and he can come back, and we can, see, what he has left. Personally, I'm happy for Ugas to have the belt, because I think that Ugas isn't the fighter who, is known as a ducker. Okay, I never heard anybody say Ugas ducked anyone. Okay, he's a hard-working guy, humble man, one of the humblest guys in boxing. Okay, and congratulations, man. He deserved this win. Okay, and people should give him his due instead of sitting around there talking about what Errol Spence would have done. Okay, Errol Spence didn't fight. He didn't fight, and a lot of people were saying Ugas' bicep was injured, and that's because and he's really gonna get knocked out by Manny Pacquiao, this, that, and the other. But look at it. Let's just say his biceps was injured, and nobody knows if that's the truth or not because he didn't seem to be injured in the fight. We don't know if he was, and he just fought through it. It could have been the case. He could have been injured, but just fought on. But he didn't mention nothing about his biceps after the fight, about if he was injured or not, which is a real warrior. This is a warrior, right, we're talking about here. Ugas is a real, throwback warrior type of fighter, okay? So even if he was hurt, he went ahead and took the fight anyway. And even after the fight, he didn't mention nothing about his injury. If it was actually an injury in the first place, it could have been just rumors going around, just wishful thinking by these LDBC guys, hoping that Ugas would lose, because of an injury or whatever. Even though their guy Spence pulled out of the fight with an injury, Ugas continued to fight. But even that, they didn't give him any credit for that. Okay. Nobody gave him credit for, they would say, oh, he might be injured. And, they were out there talking about how he could be injured. And that what did they, what conclusion did they draw from the fact that he might be injured? Oh, well, Manny Pacquiao is really going to knock him out now. That's what they were saying. Manny Pacquiao is going to knock him out now because he got a injury to his arm. I'm like, whoa. I mean, none of them said, oh, this guy got an injury, but yet still he's going through with the fight, man. This guy's a warrior. Nobody said that. All they were just gleeful that now he might lose. They already thought he was going to lose, but now they thought he was going to get knocked out by Manny Pacquiao because he had a bicep injury, So this is how these guys are thinking about, the fight with Manny and Ugas. I mean, it's a disgrace, really. But what can you expect from these guys? I mean, it is what it is. So hopefully, like I said, Errol Spence will come back soon. If not, then, hey, boxing got to keep moving. We can't wait around. So I would love to see the fight between Crawford and Ugas. Ugas displayed a lot of skill, Now, I more or less thought that Ugas was going to win the fight, and I said that in my pre-fight video. You can go and check it, what I said about the fight in that video. So I thought he would win against Manny Pacquiao because of, like I said, I saw the fight with him and Porter, and to me, he displayed some good skills in that fight. And I've seen him in other fights, and he has good skills, okay? He's a technically sound fighter, okay? Good on the inside, good right hand, okay? Good left, when he that he can use a jab when he needs to. So he's a fundamentally sound fighter, and, he's not the fastest fighter in the world, but he's not a slouch either when it comes to speed. Okay. Now his only thing is that he doesn't really display a lot of knockout power, but he does have power and strength. Okay. And when you're in there with Ugas, you try to stay in close with him, you're gonna feel that power and you're gonna feel that strength. He might not be a knockout power, a one-punch knockout power, but he does have power and he's a strong fighter in there, especially on the inside. Okay. So it was a great performance by Ugas, really. Superior performance. I'm glad that he won the fight, and I'm glad that things turned out the way it did for him, because I think he deserves it. He's been in the game for a good while now. He's like 35 years old, and now he's finally reached the pinnacle of the sport. And so, his whole future is ahead of him at this point. It's up to him to decide what he wants to do. Hopefully, like I said, he get the big fights that he wants. I mean, but I would think that at this point, if he's gonna wait around for Spence, then maybe he could take maybe one or two fights, in between, to kind of make some money. And then, maybe one fight, and then fight Errol Spence if Errol Spence is back by then. If not, then fight Crawford, Or just go straight to Crawford right now for the big money. Okay? But, I would think that he maybe want to hold on to the title. I don't know how he's going to do against a guy like Crawford. I mean, Crawford is a beast in there. I mean, if they were to fight, even though I like Ugas' skills, and I wouldn't count him out, but still I'd have to lean towards Crawford, just like I lean towards Ugas in the Manny Pacquiao fight. I go by the skills, not fanboys. I'm not worried. I'm not I'm not gonna go against Ugas because I'm a fan of Errol Spence, which is what these guys do. All they want is for Errol Spence to be at the top of the game. They don't care about anybody else. Okay, they claim they support black fighter, but they just support Errol Spence. I mean, there's nothing wrong with supporting Errol Spence, but I mean, you don't gotta, shit on other fighters because you support Errol Spence, which is what they do. Okay, and so it is what it is. But yeah. So it was a great fight. Manny Pacquiao doesn't have nothing to be ashamed of. He put up a good fight, but it was just that it was that night was for Ugas. Ugas, I think, like I said in my pre-fight video, Ugas realized the urgency of the situation. He knew that this was his moment, and I thought that he would be super motivated in this fight. And I thought that, and I said in my pre-fight video that he would rise to the occasion, and that's exactly what he did. He rose to the occasion like a true champion and went in there and did his job. And for that, you gotta give him all the props, okay? And I'm giving him all his props. He deserves every bit of it. Congrats, champ. You put on a great performance. That was a super showcase of boxing skills, okay? One of the best, out there that I've seen, against Manny Pacquiao or anybody else for that matter. Okay, it was a great display of technical boxing. Okay, I mean, there's nothing else needs to be said. So, again, right now, Ugas has just upset the the order in the welterweight division, and so a lot of people are still in shock. Okay, including all these LDBC fanboys and the boxing industry, because everybody was backing. I mean, everybody was backing Manny Pacquiao to beat Ugas. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm like, where's this coming from? I mean, look at Ugas, look at Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao is 40-something years old. I mean, yes, he's a legend, and I understand it, and you can't count him out. But you're gonna back him against a guy like Ugas? The guy Ugas is taller than him. Okay, not to say that height makes a difference in fights, but it's an advantage. Ugas is younger, even though he's 35. Ugas is stronger. Okay, and I think he's a better combination puncher. Okay, but he got a great jab. Arm reach is more than Manny Pacquiao, and like I said, I already mentioned the age. And then when we look at the way that Ugas fought Porter and his last couple of fights, I mean, it was. I mean, I just don't understand how they could have went against Ugas. I mean, that's, to me, them going against Ugas against Manny Pacquiao is like them going against Spence against Manny Pacquiao. Because when you really look at Ugas and Errol Spence, I mean, what more is Errol Spence a more accomplished fighter than Ugas? Look at their records. Okay, so they're about the same, really. Okay, Ugas probably got a little edge in that department, even though he was out of boxing for quite some time. Okay, so maybe Spence got the edge because he don't fought Porter, he fought Danny Garcia, but Ugas fought Porter and did better against Porter than Spence did. Okay, so what if you would have fought Danny Garcia? Maybe you would have did better against Danny Garcia than Spence did. He probably would have did better against Mikey Garcia than Spence did. We don't know. I'm just saying, we don't know how you would do against those guys, but who knows? But based on his performance against Manny Pacquiao, we can safely say that Ugas has skills and he could have fought with any of those guys that Spence fought and probably beat them as well. We don't know for sure, but it is what it is. All right, so I don't think there's much else to be said in this, on this particular subject, but again, LDBC, the Pactards, and the boxing industry, were in an unholy alliance and backing Manny Pacquiao against Ugas. I mean, any other time all these different entities would be at each other's throat, but in this situation, they were all backing Manny Pacquiao to beat Ugas, and it is what it is. I mean, that's it's nothing else to be said. You know what I mean? So yeah, let's see what's gonna happen next. There's another good fight coming up this week. Okay, so there's a lot of good fights coming up actually. So just look forward to those. But for right now, congrats to Ugas, WBA kingpin, WBA super champion. Did a great job against Pacquiao, rose to the occasion, and right now he should be getting all the credit and all the accolades that Spence would have gotten, because they would have still been talking about the win with Spence if Spence would have did what Ugas did. But You know, instead they're talking about what Spence would have done instead of talking about what Ugas actually did. I mean, these guys living in fantasy land. But anyway, it is what it is. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Go to my www.tbeboxing.com. Check out the latest articles. Subscribe. We have a Patreon. We have a Cash App. So if you want to throw something our way, go ahead. Be my guest. But make sure you like and subscribe. Okay? That's all I have for right now. This is TBE Boxing. I'm out.